This audiobook is based on our book about a key philosophical principle in medicine, without which a true understanding of human health is impossible. We extend the previously formulated Principle of Disease Optimality to human health and human life, not only at the individual, but also at the societal level. In this chapter, we are talking about the Principle of Health Optimality. In traditional models, health is often imagined as an ideal, static state of complete normality, from which any deviation is automatically classed as pathology. Within the framework of the Principle of Optimality, however, we regard health as a dynamic range of modes. Within this corridor, the system preserves its ability to adapt and regulate at an acceptable resource cost. Health is not a point of perfection, but a living space in which natural fluctuations are possible. Loads, micro U8209 failures, and the necessary periods of fatigue and subsequent recovery. Genuine health is characterized by the system's capacity to respond flexibly to challenges without exceeding its reserves. In such a state, the system can adapt to loads, and brief deviations from a conventional zero do not lead to irreversible losses. The key criterion here is the absence of accumulating excessive wear across internal and external modes of life. When internal processes are organized so as not to deplete wellspan, we avoid scenarios of premature degradation and preserve the integrity of the organism as a complex regulating system. Healthspan is that portion of life during which bodily functions are sufficiently preserved for a person to remain physically active, cognitively engaged, and socially present without constant dependence on external assistance. In parallel, wellness functions as the everyday practice of maintaining the state. It consists of deliberate lifestyle choices and behavioral and environmental decisions that purposefully enhance adaptive capacity, rather than merely recording the absence of disease. The intersection of these notions creates the period of maximum functional freedom. This is the time when body, psyche, and social environment together provide a reliable support for the realization of life goals. Decisions in the state are made not from a position of bare survival, but from a position of maximally meaningful inhabiting of each moment. The task of optimal health is to ensure that every additional unit of invested resources yields a tangible increase in quality of life, expanding this space of freedom and protecting it from degradation. Every adaptation has its price: physiological, psychological, and social. Chronic stress, sleep deprivation, and toxic environments generate allostatic load, a cumulative biological debt. This credit is what the organism is compelled to pay for its attempts to adjust to life's demands. Optimal health is a configuration of modes in which short U8209 term peaks of load are consistently compensated by adequate phases of recovery, preventing avalanche U8209 like accumulation of debt. The logic of this balance rests on the principle of minimizing expenditures. Accumulated biological debt is defined by the gap between the intensity of stressors and the organism's capacity for qualitative recovery. If total stress chronically exceeds restorative abilities, the system exhausts its critical reserve threshold. The criterion of optimality becomes the minimal cumulative adaptive cost. The less we overspend resources today, the more reserve remains for advanced age and unforeseen crises. Genotype, early development, and social context assign each person an individual corridor of possibilities. Optimality lies not in attempting to transcend these bounds, but in using the available range as effectively as possible. A primary strategy is the reduction of background stresses and toxic influences, minimizing chronic stressors, working with the psyche, improving sleep quality, and reducing harmful environmental exposures directly lower allostatic load. The next step is supporting co-regulatory systems through systematic investment in movement, nutrition, and social engagement. This strengthens the immune and nervous systems, which largely determine the duration of health span. Equally important is the judicious use of medicine for preventive assessments, allowing risks to be adjusted without excessive exhaustion of the organism. The ultimate goal is to individualize strategies to one's own corridor, in order to achieve the fullest possible realization of personal wellspan potential. We will be grateful for your likes and for sharing information about this audiobook with others.